Good morning, fellow traders. So, time for our weekend update here from Hawaii. Excuse me. so, got a great location here to work from, um, and just giving everyone a little bit of an update. We had a lot of activity this week, much more than I would like at 3:30 in the morning, and we won't be doing that next week. I haven't found anything really great from an earnings standpoint next week. If we do, obviously I'll be posting it, but excuse me. But let's just kind of run down through some of the different positions we closed. So let's go down here. If, by the way, under these circles here, if they have an X on them, that means that I close them and I will be moving them down into the archive trades at the end of every week. So let's just look at this 428 butterfly on SPX. So we closed that one out up 30%. That was a nice trade. Roku, good earnings trade up 100% in Roku. Verizon, it was an okay earnings trade. Probably overstayed the welcome in that one. Would have been better off. We did have 100% at one point had we closed the whole thing out then. Another SPX, decent trade, up 25%. Then we get into some some problem trades here. So Snap, not so good. Snap, we ended up down in, and a lot of this was commissions. I'm factoring in $1 per here commission wise. I don't think anybody's paying that much, but and I would also say that there's a really good question here that Robert posed on what would happen if we didn't close our position. And I wanted to go into that explanation here. So make sure you take a look at that. Then Pinterest, similar, didn't have very good luck with the Pinterest trade either. I don't. Let's see. I should have put that posting in here too, but that was also a loser. Not a huge loser, but a loser. So if we look at our overall equity curve here for all of our trades, let's see, this is just the earnings trades, by the way. So this is earnings trades over the past 3-4 months. Earnings trades are profitable, but they can be hit and miss. Now let's look at our live class trades. Let's look at our closed class trades since 12/1. Now this is going to include earnings as well as our SPX trades. So some of those earnings trades did put a little bit of a dent in us here this last week. But overall, good, solid track record. We look at a bar chart of our returns here. Our winners are much bigger than our losers are. But we've been having some losers. These couple earnings trades dinged us, but we had a whole row of winners as well in there. And this is, of course, the list of all those trades. Every one of these trades, you can go back and look in the archive section and see the full, literally video by video replay of them. And they're great. They're great learning tools in there. So be sure to take advantage of those. So let's take a look now at what our open trades are that we still have open and what we're going to do with them. And then we'll take a look at our projections maybe here or some thoughts for next week. So these are our class trades that are still open. This is one we just recently opened, a broken wing butterfly. Not really anything we need to do here. It's just kind of chunking along well. At some point, we may raise this right arm a little bit if the market continues going higher. On our rut, we have an order out there to thin this again a little bit. This one's been moving along nicely as well, up about 15% in this one. This calendar is struggling a little bit. A little pullback in this thing would be really nice for us. I don't know if we'll get it or not, but that would certainly be a nice one. Intel. So Intel, we basically have locked down our risk or our loss in this earnings trade. Intel gapped up hugely, so we took off the short puts at full profit, but that leaves us in this position. So what we could potentially do here is if we get a pullback in Intel, we could do much like we did here with Meta. Meta was a very similar position, and then we converted it into a condor. So we could potentially do something like that here. You see, I've got a possible trade consideration where I would turn this into a vertical. Once we turned it into a vertical, then we could potentially put on the other side, the call side, if we wanted, and turn that into an iron condor. But you'll notice that that does involve picking up additional risk. Right now, our risk is at 278. If we do convert this, our risk goes up considerably, but that risk is quite a ways away too. So that's something we'll have to evaluate when we see how the market starts acting early this next week. So, in relationship to the market this next week, let's take a look here at where we're at. So, the SPX is really showing some strength right now. It is at a resistance point here in this 4160 to 4200 range. But again, it has been showing pretty darn strong. It's rallied up from 3800, hit that 4100 point, or excuse me, almost 4200 point, pulled back. Now it's rallied right up to that 4200 point again. We can see here that the volume, these green bars down here, the volume has been pretty strong when that's happened. That's also an indicator of strength. So it's not out of the question that we pop through here, and 43 is going to be kind of the next resistance range. So what do we do with this? Well, one of the things that I'm going to look at doing on Monday, possibly Tuesday, is we might add a flat fly. Now, a flat fly is something that, we're going to get a better entry in a sell-off. We're going to get a cheaper entry in a sell-off. So we won't get an inexpensive entry on the flat fly, given that volatility is reduced right now. But what we can do with the flat fly is it tends to be a great trade if you start to get a little bit of a pullback. It's also a good trade that you can layer into for about 60 to 70 points in ongoing up move. So I would anticipate maybe starting with a single flat fly, and then adding into that flat fly if the market continues higher. So that's something we will look at this next week. Again, I am seeing strength in the market, but there's a lot of news coming out next week, more earnings, as well as some Fed news. So let's keep our eye on that, see how that goes. I do plan on this next week having, again, fewer earnings trades, partially because I'm just not seeing anything that enticing, partially because being there at market opening is a little bit difficult right now. But again, if I see an opportunity, I'm going to be there. So get back into the butterfly mode, where most of our trades don't require much attention during the course of the day. So that's kind of the game plan for the upcoming week. And thank you, everyone, and look forward to seeing you in the groups.